Hi, welcome to This Is My Architecture. We're here live from re:Invent. My name is Andrea, and I'm here with Ed from Pason. Hi, Ed. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what do you guys do?
So Pason is a global leader in terms of energy services and energy technology. We provide an end-to-end ecosystem for managing oil and gas data solutions.
Wow. So we're going to talk about drilling data mart.
That's right.
Walk us through that. What is that?
Sure. So the drilling data marts is really an initiative that our company put forward to provide our customers with data on a platter. So a very simple interface for providing users to access their drilling data or sensor data.
Wow, okay, great. Let's walk through a use case. I see data mart user. Who do you define as a data mart user?
Sure. So our data mart users are our contractors and operators who are responsible for drilling an oil and gas well. So they'll access our Presto interface using a JDBC or ODBC driver.
Okay, so does Presto then, Apache Presto, I believe, is it running on EMR? Where do you run that?
That's right. So the Presto is one of the one of the many applications that we run on the EMR system.
Okay.
And that provides us essentially with a way to bring together multiple data sources.
Okay, so unified view into many different data sources. I do see S3, I do see MRFS. Where do you store that data? S3 and EFS?
Sure.
Where do you store that?
So we store a multitude of data. We store sensor data and we store well metadata. That sensor data is very high volume data. So we're talking about 500 channels, 1 second frequency data that ends up being stored for over 700,000 wells.
Okay,
right?
so how do you define what data and where to store it?
So our metadata that changes quite often, we actually store that in the RDS database, or MySQL database.
Okay.
For data that is sensor data related, which is high volume and doesn't change often, we end up storing that through EMRFS, which is essentially an S3 view of things that provides a consistent view of the data itself.
I see. So how much data are we talking about here? What's the scale?
So of those 700,000 databases that we actually manage, one of those databases itself might have 1 billion data points in it.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about a lot of data that we need to store.
I bet. Now, data security and governance becomes important. How do you address that?
Good question. So Presto allows us to write our own authentication plugin. So what we did was we created an authentication plugin for Presto, and that talks to some of our microservices to provide authentication and authorization.
Okay. And in terms of the microservices, does that help you at all with data ingestion as well? Do you have any mechanism for how you bring data into these stores from your source?
Sure. So we've broken our system down into multiple microservices. Those microservices abstract those 7,000 databases that we talked about there.
Okay.
One of those particular services is the Datamart ETL service. It's responsible for orchestrating all of the extract, transform, and load. So an extract, transform, and load for our sensor information might involve storing data that's in our S3 bucket,
Okay.
commanding Hive to actually transform that data and create a Hive table surrounding the S3 file, and then that data is then loaded by Hive into EMRFS, so we can consume that later through Presto.
I see. That makes perfect sense. Now, let's look at availability. How do you address HA in this example?
Another great question. So we run all of this in one particular region, but we run it in multiple availability zones. And the multiple availability zones allows us to not only provide high availability, but it allows us to load balance our system.
Oh, I see. Now, I believe you moved into this platform and you've been working very hard to come to this point. Where does the future bring you? What's your vision for the future? How are you going to enhance this?
Sure. So this is our first cloud-native solution for our data mart. We have existing legacy data marts, which are provided using other technologies. What we want to do is slowly bring that technology into this fold and essentially have Presto bring together all of that data as if it looks as if it's from one data source.
I see. That's wonderful. Now, just to ask you around the number of users and how they access all this, give me a sense of sort of scale in terms of terabytes. Is there any quantity, any numbers you can put on this?
So the number of data marts that we have and the volume of data grows every day. We have over 1,000 wells every day being sort of accessed throughout the system, but that data grows and grows as more and wells are being drilled. So we're talking like hundreds hundreds of thousands of wells of data or petabytes of data now.
That's impressive. So essentially, I guess the last question I ask you around this architecture is, what really benefit are you providing the contractors, the operators of this platform?
Yeah, so our data warehouse, which is the 700,000 databases, it's all organized in a star schema, as well as database sharding. It's very difficult for us to expose that to our customers. Providing it in Presto and a single database or a single data store gives them an easy way to connect up BI tools so they can perform analytics and other ETL operations themselves.
Wonderful. So you have Datamart users, operators, and contractors with a single unified interface accessing the data and doing analytics. Thank you so much for walking us through this, Ed.
Thank you, Andrew.
And thank you for watching This Is My Architecture Live. Back to the Launchpad.